From playing detectives on police procedurals that made them ideal for their roles to a surprising past as a heartthrob on a certain daytime soap opera, these actors from Criminal Minds had past roles that would surprise even the biggest fans. Let's take a look at the guy who stepped in to revive the series in Season 12. CSI Miami made Adam Rodriguez the logical choice to replace Shemar Moore, although it's fair to say that nothing could fill the hole that Derek's departure left in our hearts. But even so, Rodriguez did a great job of setting his character apart, because unlike Derek, Emily, and so many others, he has a hard time emotionally distancing himself from his cases, which might be the very thing that makes him such a critical member of the BAU. This isn't the first time that Rodriguez has played the role of a hunky crime solver. His turn as Eric Delco in CSI Miami put him on the map. And this might just be my opinion, but his performance was a big reason why CSI Miami became the best show in the entire franchise. He brought a lot of the same emotional beats to his role as Luke Alves, and it's pretty clear that he doesn't have a problem with being pigeonholed. But most of the other major actors from the show were first-timers in the world of police procedurals. Matthew Gray Gubler was an indie darling before Criminal Minds. And what's more, he didn't even want to be an actor. Rather, he wanted to be the guy who made films. He got to do just that on Criminal Minds by directing a few episodes. He had to start off somewhere, though. So he used his talents to impress none other than Wes Anderson. That gave him the chance to appear in iconic films like Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Gubler worked his way up the film world, eventually appearing in 500 Days of Summer in a supporting role. A critical supporting role, mind you. Now, I totally get why Matt's career started off with so many indie films. He looks like he was made for the quirky world of Wes Anderson and Zooey Deschanel. It seems that Criminal Minds likes to pick the unlikeliest of actors. Just take a look at the guy that defined the series in its initial years. Mandy Patinkin's first major role was peak meme material. Now, I'll admit, Patinkin hasn't been on the show for over a decade, but that doesn't change how big of an influence he was. The character of Gideon was instrumental to the series during the first few seasons. He represented the pinnacle of behavioral science, which is why he's often referred to as the greatest profiler in BAU history. But you'll never guess where he started out. The famous actor's been in a bunch of major films and TV shows, but the one that started it all turned out to be The Princess Bride. Yup, you heard that right. Mandy Patinkin played Inigo Montoya in The Princess Bride. And that might be even more of an iconic role than his eventual turn as Jason Gideon. You've all heard the line that's been memed time and time again, the one where he announces who he is and tells the man who killed his father that he's about to die. It's a testament to Patinkin's acting that he could make such different roles equally believable. But if you think that's surprising, wait till you hear what Emily Prentiss was up to. Paget Brewster got her start in the world of sitcoms. She got her first big break thanks to a certain show that you might have heard of called Friends. Yup, that Friends. And to make things even more hilarious, her character Kathy was at the center of a love triangle with Joey and Chandler. Chandler in particular got super into her. Could he be any more obsessed? Paget eventually moved on to Community, where she played not one but two different characters, namely the workaholic Deborah Chambers in Season 5, along with the intimidating Frankie Dart in Season 6. The writers managed to turn the double casting into one big joke, and Paget might have been the only actress who could pull that off. I don't know about you, but it's kinda insane that Paget went from playing comedic roles to playing the unit chief of an FBI unit tasked with capturing serial killers. Talk about range. Brewster may have been biding her time in the world of comedy, waiting for the chance to play a truly serious role for a change. She was still a newbie when she got the part of Emily Prentiss. Her experienced co-star had a way more colorful career before he joined the Criminal Minds cast. Joe Mantegna was no stranger to the box office. In fact, he might just be the most successful actor to get a part on Criminal Minds. Don't get me wrong, CSI Miami and The Princess Bride are both impressive gigs to add to your resume, but you just can't compare them to what Mantegna was up to. Before he replaced Mandy Patinkin as the mentor of the BAU, Mantegna had a major role in Godfather 3. That might not be the best film in the Godfather trilogy, but I doubt Mantegna had a problem with that. He ended up playing none other than Joey Zaza. You know, the guy that tried to have Michael Corleone assassinated? If anything, playing Rossi on Criminal Minds was a comfy retirement gig for the veteran actor. But regardless, it was a major step up for almost every other member of the cast, even if they had seen a lot of success in the years prior. Thomas Gibson was already famous when he got the part of Hotch. Any guesses as to what he did before? Maybe he acted in a quirky fantasy film like his old pal Mandy. Or was it a cop show like Rodriguez and Tyler? If your guess was male lead in a fish-out-of-water romantic sitcom, firstly, that's oddly specific. And secondly, you'd be absolutely right. Gibson played one of the main characters on Dharma and Greg for about 5 years. In case you were wondering, he played Greg, not Dharma. Would have been kinda weird if it was the other way around, but I digress. Gibson's been pretty enthusiastic about his previous major roles. When asked why he chose such a different gig to follow it up, his exact words were, "Variety is the spice of life." And I'm right there with you, Tom. He nailed the dorky, neurotic Greg and somehow also gave us the stoic, determined Aaron Hotchner right after. You can clearly see that the casting director for Criminal Minds isn't messing around. They don't just hire actors based on previous roles. Instead, they seem to look for true potential. Now, in the case of Thomas Gibson, he's actually been open about what he did before Criminal Minds. That's probably because Dharma and Greg was just a straight-up good show. There's at least one other actor from Criminal Minds who wasn't so lucky. In fact, he's kinda embarrassed about the career choices he made prior to Criminal Minds. Shamar Moore started out young and restless, no pun intended. Moore played a recurring character named Malcolm Winters on The Young and the Restless. I know what some of you are thinking. The guy that played Derek Morgan, a detective that literally specializes in explosives, not to mention catches serial killers for a living, acted in a soap opera? Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that Moore's an attractive man. And he's never hesitated to capitalize on that in his career, which is basically why he got the Young and the Restless part. In fact, he appeared on the show on and off for decades, starting with an 8-year stint between 1994 and 2002 before a couple comebacks during the 2000s. He even made a comeback on the show in 2019. Despite being super embarrassed about it, Moore said that he could barely watch his earlier appearances. I can't imagine how awkward he'd get if any Criminal Minds fans checked out his performance. Not that I dare tell any of you to go do that, so there you have it, everyone. That's what the cast of Criminal Minds was up to before they were on the show.